Hey, this is Dan Conrad with Protect Termite and Pest Control out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I am, and you should, be listening to the world's #1 pest control training podcast, Pest Geek Podcast with Frank Hernandez.
This edition of the Pest Geek Podcast is brought to you by Pest Routes. Pest Routes, supercharge your company with Pest Routes, the #1 pest control software to help you dominate your goals. Visit them at pestroutes.com and get your free demo.
Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Pest Geek podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez, here every day discussing all things pest. And I want to remind everybody to join the Pest Geek Society. Join the revolution of what's happening in the pest control industry. Join us on Facebook, Pest Geek Podcast Listeners Group. We're also on Twitter. We're on YouTube, pestgeekpodcast.com. Join us. Join in on the conversation. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you need to be more successful. Contribute, engage. And now here's Jeff McGovern with today's topic.
Thank you, Frank. Folks, this is Jeff McGovern, the Pest Coach. Let's kick around a little bit about bed bugs. You know, I've been to a lot of training classes over the last year pretty consistently, and bed bugs come up all the time because let's face the reality. They're going to be with us for a long time. And we're always looking for solutions. We're trying to find ways to deal with them. And what I want to talk about today is maybe a different perspective on dealing with the situation. Because as I've said in many of my other sessions, what we have to bring our clients, if we're going to hold on to them, is peace of mind. And the reality with bed bugs is really something. And there were some discussions in one of the classes we had at Baltimore last week at the Interstate Conference. And one of the individuals on stage that I actually shared the same stage with on alternate classes was Deanie Miller. And Deanie brought up something that I've heard many times before, but I'm so glad she said it because it's the reality of what we're dealing with. And what she said was, imagine you're in a restaurant and a fly, buzzes across the table, maybe lands on the edge of your plate. You're going to wave your hand and make it go away. Let's say you're sitting in that same restaurant and a cockroach is seen on the wall. Oh my goodness, that's gross and disgusting. You're going to call the manager and fuss and maybe get a free meal out of it. However, if there's a bed bug that maybe crawls across the booth or seen on a person in the building, oh my goodness, they're going to shut the restaurant down. It's going to be on the news at 6. It's going to be on the internet. It's going to blow up like crazy and it's going to be nuts. And the reality is, which one of those insects is most likely to kill you? The fly. So maybe what we need to do is educate people a little bit better on the realities of this creature. This is not the format for that. What I want to try and do here is just give you a different way to look at things that may help you. You have to understand, you have to get this. What our industry does is prevent infestation. This industry does very little to prevent introduction. And that's just the reality because pest pressure is constant. Oh, I know we can rodent-proof a building or something like that. But the reality is we're structural folks. We deal with human habitat. We deal with buildings. We deal with transport devices. We deal with things that people occupy. And so what we have to do is make sure pest populations cannot infest those zones. Can we prevent introduction? Well, especially with something like bed bugs. How? The next person walking in with all good intention may have just come from a movie theater and they had their backpack with them. And maybe they got bed bugs in the backpack at the movie theater, or in the cube farm that they work in, or at the kids' daycare center, or at the school, or they were trying on clothes at the local department store. Heaven only knows. We can't prevent introduction. So what we have to do is prepare our clients so they will not get an infestation. And the way you do that is informing yourself about the way these insects work. Now, let's take a look at a treatment scenario. Let's look at a hotel room, because I think most of us, when we go to hotel rooms, we do the quick and dirty, or we certainly train our clients to do that. And we all know the drill. You grab a hold of the mattress, you jack it back on the box spring about a foot and a half. You pull out the flashlight, which you're all supposed to have with you. And I tell everybody to carry a flashlight wherever they go, because you never know when you might need it. But you shine that flashlight in that space between the box spring and the mattress. The wall is exposed. You look in those zones close to the food source, which is us. And I tell people, if you see something moving, it looks yucky, black specks, whatever it might be, you'll want another room. Let's make this simple. And of course, the entire time, you've deposited your luggage in the bathtub. That way, nothing can move in there while you're fiddling around with the room. But it's that quick and dirty type of thing that we have to teach people to at least take a look and protect themselves. Are they going to tear a hotel room apart? Probably not. We do. I've been with PMPs that strip the room completely. And they search and search and search. And they don't find anything, but they feel better about it. Remember, it's all peace of mind. But let's look at that hotel chain. What are they going to do? Well, they need a proactive program, which means as a PMP, I hope to goodness you have talked to them about their PM programs, their preventative maintenance processes, because that's where you can do the most good on a proactive basis for bed bugs. It's that simple. This is when they're going in and PMing those rooms, bringing them back to absolutely sterling so that their next guest is going to be well satisfied with that stay. And those PM processes vary from hotel to hotel. You need to talk to your clients to find out when they do it. And once that's done, the proactive bedbug processes can be put in during the finishing of those PMs. So if you've set yourself up properly with a hotel, you might be doing PM work every single month as they bring down sections of the hotel and they do the work. Or they may have a 8-month period, they do it a 6-month period, whatever. But you become part of that process. Because if you're dealing with bed bugs there, you're not playing fire sale and panicking and taking rooms out of service for a long period of time. You're doing a far more sensible process. Now, as far as process materials, we have some very good materials now that are great in PM programs. One of them that's dry is Cemexa. You've all used it. You put that out with a Technicide duster. You can get the voids and everything else and shut them down for long, long periods of time because the Exacticide takes that Cemexa dust and distributes it properly into the voids. Very, very lightly, not heavily. In the case of exposed areas, fabric zones, carpet edges, underneath the mattress and the box spring, in the zones around the bed, the ideal material to treat those with during a PM process is CimaShield. CimaShield, you can get that from Bird Barrier. All your main suppliers have it. It will very, very soon be available in a ready-to-use, which is going to change the dynamics completely on how easy this material is to use. But CimaShield is a long-term residual, and it doesn't kill quickly after it dries. It kills slowly. But what it's designed to do is nail down that proactive process and prevent infestations. It is superb at that. It comes in 2 formulations, one with excess active that kills insects immediately, but then it dries off, then it becomes the second product, which is Protect, and Protect is your long-term residual. If you don't need the heavy-duty killing up front, just use Protect. It's a little cheaper, but it's a proactive material that you can use on a preventative basis, and it certainly bears looking into. So you've got Cemexa for the voids, you've got CimaShield for the more exposed areas, and in both cases, you have extremely long-term products that'll hold up under the normal processes and cleanings and things like that go on in a hotel room. It's ideal for that. But during the same period, when you're all finished, what are you going to do on a regular basis to make sure nothing is happening? A couple of ideas here. Number one, you're going to have a product coming out of Canada very soon from BeepCo. It is a surge protector they call a power strip that's going to be UL approved for use in the United States. It functions as a surge protector, but inside of it, when you pivot open the base, there is a bed bug monitoring board with attractant. If you need to, you can add a CO2 cartridge to it in a room that you might be suspicious about. But what this does, it adds a 24-hour-a-day monitor to that space that functions as a surge protector, which all hotels have, so people can plug in their stuff. You can mount them to the wall. You can mount them to a cabinet, whatever. But when it's plugged in, it functions normally, but it just happens to contain that monitoring space for bed bugs. Very, very effective piece of equipment. And as I said, we'll have UL approval on those in the United States probably by mid-spring. We'll have them. I've used them for some time in testing. I like these units. I like what they do. The other monitoring device that's well worth considering is a small, hard plastic device from JF Oaks that's simply meant to go between a mattress and a box spring. Now, is this going to prevent a bed bug problem? No. All it is a point in space. It is an access point for these insects to be found by us. The reason I like these is because they provide me with targets. So as with the BeepCo detector, I've got a target I've placed in that room so I can then have somebody go back in and do an assessment on that space with targets placed in there. It's a very helpful way to guide our own people. But these are the type of things you have to bring to your client so that they have peace of mind. So their bed bug program is proactive. They're not going to prevent an insect being brought in. That's not possible. But what we can do is prevent the insect from coming in and causing an infestation, which becomes a disaster. The other thing you can do is document the living daylights out of the entire proactive process so that when something does happen, that hotel can say, we have a PMP, we have a proactive process, so these things never get out of hand. We're protecting our clients. That's as good as it's going to get in today's world. There may be other ways to do this. There are certainly other products we can bring into the fold. I just wanted to give you a taste. And so with that, this is Jeff McGovern, the Pest Coach. And Frank, I'll turn it back to you, sir. Y'all take care.
We hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Have a pestacular day.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.